aquí. Ok, muy bien. Y buenos días, buenos días. Ah, está nublado, está nublado. It is cloudy. Ah, está nublado. En Arizona está nublado. Wow, it's cloudy in Arizona. Qué milagro. What a miracle. Va a llover. Man, it's going to rain soon. Okay. I am, because of some really good questions that came up prior to class, we're going to take a really quick look. I'm going to show you a couple of sources of really good ways to train yourself, to train your ears. Let's put it that way. Yay. To train your ears. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember now. Okay. Yeah, it is the time to show you guys this stuff. Okay. So we're going to start a little bit unconventionally with a couple of things that will help you. We had a comment, which is a very good comment. Oh my gosh, I thought I was getting this stuff. And now that it's all melding together, my brain is becoming a great big cesspool of how do I untangle all this stuff. And unfortunately, at the point we're at, and really, I hate to say to you from here on out, there are times when things get kind of, like this. Yeah, they do, because all these elements start to weave together. So the important thing for you at this point is not necessarily to, first of all, never try to translate word for word in the exact same order. That did not work. That does not work. Very, very seldom do words wind up being used in the same way, in the exact same order they are in English. That almost never happens. Once in a while, you get lucky with that, but not very frequently. So what you want to go for is a lot of input. Input means you're listening a lot. At this stage, you need to be listening more than you practice the speaking, believe it or not, because when you listen, you start to hear the words in the order they're supposed to be in. And you start to connect. Well, that sounds weird. You say to yourself, as you know what some of the words mean, but you think the word order is strange. You start to get the word order and the word forms in the right patterns, in the right sequence. And the more you hear that, the more it will start to feel like a natural pattern. Okay. And if you cannot produce it in speech yet, you should not be alarmed, because we spend the first 18 months of our lives listening to input from mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and everybody else around us, siblings, without being able to talk. And that is normal. And I know you all want to talk, and the fact that we should practice talking, absolutely, but we should not expect to produce perfect speaking like that. Okay, it's not a realistic expectation. But here are some things that you can do to increase the amount of input. I would say keep on with Duolingo if you are doing that. Another, I'm going to show you some sites today to start off to kind of know what other things might I incorporate on a daily basis. And even if you only incorporate 5 minutes of this, 10 minutes a day, the important thing is not to try to do like 2 hours of work in one day. You get much more benefit from doing 5, 10, 15 minutes every single day, little by little, poco a poco, with different sources, but listening a lot. Here is one source to listen a lot. It is called languagetransfer.org. It's a podcast, and it's a freebie podcast. I know they've got a donate button if you really try it and you just love it and you want to donate it, great. But I would say just start from the beginning, and you will hear, by the way, there is a video version, oddly, but you will not see any talking heads. You will only hear the input. so does purely listening input. So listen to it as a podcast. Languagetransfer.org, and I'll put this all in the email.
Okay.
This does not do so much grammar lessons as it is a prof talking with a student, and he gives you patterns. If I want to say this, how do I say it? And he starts to get into the nitty gritty of putting together full sentences pretty quickly. But it is a great way for you to start to hear how certain words will string together to make an idea. Okay, so languagetransfer.org is one way. Bien, otro, another. There are a lot of what they call comprehensible input channels on YouTube, a ton, but there are some that are better than others. Ooh, okay. So this is one that is very good, Spanish with Alma. I would go to YouTube and check out Spanish with Alma, and I would bookmark that site, or better yet, subscribe. Look for her videos that say super easy beginner or for beginners. She has some where they'll say like advanced or intermediate. Probably you don't want to listen to those, but super easy beginner ones or stories for beginners. She tells little stories, and she uses little drawing pictures. They're simple stories. You're not going to find, this is not like watching Matrix or Inception with a really intricate plot, folks. They're simple stories, but to help you get the sequence of in word order patterns in your brain, because the more you hear those patterns, the more natural it will sound. Spanish with Alma, another one who does a very good job with storytelling input. Oh, there is a guy who does a great job, but he kind of gears a lot towards teen and gamers. And if you're not into gaming online, it'll be like, I don't care about this. Also Dreaming Spanish. This guy is actually a cohort of Alma. They are both Spaniards, but they are very, very much into comprehensible input. And again, you're going to want to not look at things that do not pass over the things that talk about intermediate, right? You want to look at even some of the beginner things are a little advanced, but beginner or super beginner level. Those folks do a lot with comprehensible input. A third one to look at and bookmark is because some of these are very short. Spanish After Hours, this young lady Laura, she does some, and I have used a lot of her videos in my classes. Some of them are a little more esoteric. She gets into some of the soft speaking stuff. My husband loves that. I have no idea why. But anyway, she does some little stories like telling about kids going to the beach. And a lot of these are going to feel like kid stories. And essentially they are kid stories, but you need that input to be simple level. Just like when you're a little kid, mom and dad don't start to talk to you about physics or the quadratic equation, because no, you start to talk about easy stuff, right? So those are some resources, but I will give you the links to try to see those. Okay, bien.
Okay.
Hoy vamos a practicar con un poquito, muy poco, very little, un poco. Vamos a practicar un poquito de números y después no. We're going to talk a little bit about numbers. We're going to do a quick dictation dictado very early on. And after that, we're going to delve into this whole thing of adjetivos. We're going to dive pretty deep into adjetivos, adjectives. So I'm going to share with you, if you printed this off or if you saved it on your computer, here is the page you will need for today, this little homework thing. And if you didn't do it, no se preocupen, don't worry about it. You'll see where we're going with that. So, but if you've got that file handy, or if you have that printed off, you will want to go search for that before we get to it. We're going to talk about adjectives, why adjectives are weird, why they will feel weird to you for a while. And we're going to incorporate it back into La Casa a little bit and talk about other things that are not La Casa, give you a little assignment to bring something next week to describe. We're going to end up, I hope, at the end of today, talking a little bit about a preview of vocabulary and ideas you will want to preview for next week. So mostly adjectives today, and always feel free to interrupt with questions. Siempre, siempre. Vamos a empezar con un dictado. We're going to start with a dictado, a dictation. So you need any old crummy piece of paper that you don't care about, and cualquier, una pluma, un lápiz, no importa, no es muy importante, not super important what you used, because you're just going to throw it away when you're done anyway. This is only for self-checking. And we're just going to see if you can understand some numbers. And I'm going to take some big numbers this time. And I'm not going to do a full body of 10. Vamos a, voy a decirles, I'm going to tell you guys, voy a decirles 6 números, solamente 6, just 6, okay? Bien. Bien, just to kind of double check you, because we need to move on to the world of adjectives. Okay. Bien, 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 bien. Voy a repetir el número 3 veces, ¿verdad? 3 veces. Bien, sí, 3 veces. Ok. Número uno es 830. 830. 830. Ok. Número dos. 1200. 1200. 1200. 1200. Ok. Número 3. 750. 750. And if they say at normal speed, it'll sound like 750. Okay.
Yes.
Número 4. 525. 525. If they say at normal speed, it'll be 525. 525. Okay. Número 5 es 370. 370. 370. Ok. Y por fin, número 6, el último, the last one. El último es 940. 940. A ver, bien. Ok. A ver, bueno, vamos a ver. Let's take a quick look. A ver, aquí tienen los números. Here you've got the numbers. 830, 1200, 750, 525, 370, 940. 940. ¿Sí? Bien. Okay. If people give you a price or an address or something and you can't get it, it's always okay to ask, repita, por favor. Repita, por favor, ¿sí? Repeat, please. O repita, perdón, repita más despacio. Repeat more slowly, más despacio, por favor. Is always okay to ask. Whoops, perdón, I'm trying to. Always okay to ask somebody to repeat, see? And by the way, people sometimes shorten por favor to that word, porfa.
Oh.
Para que sepan, so you know. A slangy way to shorten por favor, please, is porfa, porfa. Porfa es muy común. It's really common.
Porfa.
Okay. Bien. So there is our quickie short dictado for today. Para hoy. But we're going to move on to the big bad world of adjectives. I really hope that you watched this video about colores, colors, because colors are just one kind of adjective, right? An adjective can be short or long. It can be pretty or ugly. It can be any range of colors. It can be easy or difficult, right? Adjectives are any words that describe a thing or describe a person or describe an animal, describe a place. Adjectives describe nouns, but colors can be and are a good vehicle to show you what happens with adjective forms, because unlike in English, where red car is just red car, the word red in Spanish needs to look at the thing it is talking about, and it needs to go into the same form as the thing it is talking about. So if your noun, the person is the noun, if your noun is feminine and plural, that every word talking about that feminine plural noun will also have to be plural and feminine. Okay, and you saw that with words like el, la, los, las, right? Un, una, unos, unas, but that extends to the whole family of all those little words that, you know, the noun is the little sun of its tiny universe in that part of the sentence. And every word that talks about that noun needs to go into a form that is in the same form as the noun. Now, the reason that colors are a great vehicle for this is that they showed you, and if you didn't watch this, don't tell me now, but do go back and watch that again, because she segregates this out into all of the colors that end in a letter O. So she segregated it out. Ooh, skip. Ooh, anaranjado, orange. Amarillo ends in O. Rojo ends in O. Rosado ends in O. Morado ends in O. Negro ends in O. We have to skip gris, and blanco ends in O. All of those adjectives that end in O means that is a masculine form, and they will also have a corresponding feminine form, and a form that ends not in O, but in A. Okay, that's not too hard of an adjustment to make, but also we may make them plural. We may have to, right? If you're talking about, you're looking at a whole, you go into a parking lot in Arizona, what are you going to see the most? You're going to see white cars. There is the most common color bought in Arizona, a white car. A high percentage of people buy white cars. And so, you know, the word white cars will have to be, white will have to go into a masculine and a plural form to talk about cars. Okay, we don't do that in English at all. Okay, so that's hurdle number 1. Hurdle number 2 is that, and not much of a hurdle then. Adjectives that don't end in an O, like azul, like verde, like marron, like those words use the same word for masculine and feminine, no difference. There are some exceptions to that rule. I'm going to tell you, there are some. Okay. And they have to do with special kinds of words that are not as frequent, or, for example, with nationalities that do not end in an O. And I hopefully will get a chance to show you some of those. But most adjectives follow these rules. Words that end in O, you've got 4 forms: masculine singular, masculine plural, feminine singular, feminine plural. But the nice thing with these ones that do not end in O is same for masculine, feminine. You just worry about making it plural. So those same rules that you use to make nouns plural, they kick in. Okay, so azul, and we add es, azules. Verde already ends in a vowel, so verdes, just an S at the end. Marron is like azul. It ends in a consonant, so es to make it plural, marrones. Gris ends in an S, not an O, so we make it plural with an es at the end, grises. Okay, bien. By the way, I want to tell you a little bit about this word marron. Marron. I actually sat in on people who had a fight, a table of 5 women who had all teachers of Spanish, all except for me, native first, language, maternal language, Spanish. I was the only one who was not, who had an absolute, almost knockdown, drag out fight over the word for brown. Really? Sí, bien. Yes, they did. Because in marron is one of those words where, depending on the region you're going to, people in Colombia like that word marron. People in Spain like that word marron. People in Mexico prefer the word café.
Oh, okay.
Café. Café means coffee, but café is a color, yeah? And they'll use it either as café or color de café, color of coffee. So you will hear sometimes some little variations on that. Okay. Game. So stop me now if you have a question on how those basic forms fill out. ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any question about masculine, feminine, singular, plural with adjectives? We're going to go over what the answers were.
I just have one question about the marron. It looks like it drops its accent when it goes plural.
It does drop the accent mark when it gets plural. And I don't want to tell you why right now, because there is a reason why. Accent marks exist basically in Spanish for 2 reasons. They either exist to tell you, oh, this is a short word, and with an accent, it has one definition, and without an accent, it has another. That's not the case with marron. The other reason accent marks exist is that they say, this word doesn't follow the normal accent, the normal stress pattern. And therefore, we're going to write it in to show you where the stress really does fall. For you speaking, knowing that an accent mark is or is not there is not super important. I would like to talk about it at some point, but it'll kind of go down a rabbit hole. And so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. Basically, Spanish words will, in a nutshell, either put more stress, that means more punch, more emphasis, either on the very last syllable or the second to last. That's how most words end up being. And the way they're spelled, again, will determine if you stress the last syllable or the second to last syllable. So a written accent mark tells you, oh, this word is not following the usual pattern. Punch this instead. That's all an accent mark serves for. Okay. Vale. Let's take a look at this little color page to see if we can figure out what the answers are. And I'm sorry to give you that short an answer, but yes, it does drop the accent mark if it goes plural. Okay. Otro día, another day. I will go into that. Aquí vamos. Here we go. And we hopefully have a lot of the different forms of these. Oh, yeah, this breaks it out so that you see azul and azules, verde and verdes, marron and marrones. And yes, you see that that accent mark goes bye-bye because the second to the last syllable is what we want to punch. Oh, and because it's following the rule, I no longer need that accent mark. This one, marron, breaks the stress rule. The way we pronounce it breaks the rule. And that's why that accent mark has to be written in on the singular form. Then we get anaranjado, anaranjada, anaranjados, anaranjadas. And some people do shorten that to, you know, naranja, just so you know. Amarillo, amarilla, amarillos, amarillas, etc. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Número uno, what we're really talking about is bandera. A bandera is a flag, and a flag happens to be a feminine word. It just does. It just is. La bandera de Francia es azul. We got to fill in the other colors. Oh, I know. This is a challenge. Something we may not know the flag patterns. Es azul.
Blanco y rojo.
Okay, normally you would think, okay, blanco y rojo, but because we're talking about bandera, I cannot say blanco or
Blanca, sorry.
yeah. Okay, so now you see what's kicking in.
Yeah.
Es azul, blanca
Y
y
roja.
roja, and you could say azul, roja y blanca. El orden, the order of those colors, no importa, doesn't matter. Okay. But because bandera, the thing we're talking about, is a feminine thing, all those colors have to be feminine form colors. So with azul, it won't matter so much, right? Because azul is both feminine and masculine form, but I do need blanca y roja. ¿Bien? Okay, vale. And to help you out a little bit, Germany, Germany, Germany is black, yellow, black, yellow, red, black, yellow, red. Okay. La bandera de Alemania, Germany, de Alemania es negra.
Amarilla, no.
Amarilla.
Amarilla y roja.
Y roja. And again, we're talking about bandera, so they need to be all feminine words. La bandera de Alemania, Germany is not red, yellow. The flag is, okay, it's bandera, feminine thing. Es negra, amarilla y roja. Okay. La bandera de Estados Unidos has estrellas. We're talking about stars now. I'm no longer talking about flag. I'm talking about estrellas, stars. And estrellas is a feminine word. So, tiene estrellas.
Blancas.
Blancas. Blancas. Tiene estrellas blancas. Needs to end in an AS. Blancas. Bien? Okay. Los tomates, and you know that because we've got a los, you know that's a masculine word. Los tomates son
Rojos.
rojos. Rojos. Well, generally, right? Los tomates son rojos. Okay. Homer Simpson, and we want to talk about the color of his skin because he is
Amarillo.
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 Homer Simpson es amarillo. Okay, vale. Bien. El pelo de Marge Simpson. And we're not talking about Marge. We're talking about her hair. Pelo. Pelo is a masculine thing, no matter what kind of human being it's on. El pelo de Marge Simpson es
Azul.
azul. Some of you may not be familiar with Los Pitufos, the Smurfs. The Smurfs are little cartoon characters popular in Europe, but not here. Okay, so much. But they are little blue guys. They're little blue guys.
Azul.
Okay.
Azules.
we need to make it plural. Azules. Los
Azules.
pitufos son
Azules.
azules. Azules. They are blue guys. Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about, perdón, the two colors that chocolate might be.
Mhm.
And that word o that you see in between means or o, just the letter o by itself as a word means or. El chocolate es
Maron.
marrón o
Blanco.
Blanco.
blanco. Es marrón o blanco. In Mexico, it would be more popular to say el chocolate es café
Café.
o blanco. Okay.
Café.
O
Okay.
el chocolate es color de café o blanco, no importa. Ok, bien. Pepinos, cucumber. Los pepinos son
Verdes.
Verde.
verdes.
Verdes.
Verdes. Green. Ok. El carbón, coal. El carbón es
Es
Negros.
negros.
negro.
Negros.
And just negro
Oh.
because it's
Oh.
el carbón, not los
Oh.
carbones. Yeah, see?
Okay.
El carbón es negro. Bueno, la leche es
Blanca.
blanca. And we need blanca, because la leche. La leche es blanca. La leche es blanca. Y la sangre es
Roja.
Roja.
roja. La sangre
Roja.
es roja. La
Roja.
sangre es roja. Bien. Ok. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any question on this little mini drill using just colors? Colores. Nada más. If you have a question, please do ask it. Nada. Nothing yet? Okay. Okay. Vale. Magnífico. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ver. All adjectives are going to go into colors like that. We're going to take a look at some of these, which will not always be, not all of these will be colors. Some of them may be nationalities. Some of them may be describing the way somebody or something is, but we're going to take a look at, ¿cuántos hay? 20. We're going to look at the first 10. Oh, no, quizás los primeros 8. We're going to look at the first 8. 8. And we're always going to have to be looking at the thing we're talking about. Aquí. Ok. Vamos a practicar aquí. Pueden
Okay.
ver. Can you guys see?
Mhm.
Bien?
Sí.
Okay. So not all these are colors because not all descriptions are colors, right? Descriptions
Mhm.
might be words like weird, big, small,
Mhm.
cute, ugly. Yeah. Okay. Anything that describes. But we need to be thinking about the thing we're talking about. We're going to skip number 3 because it's a kind of repeat of something you just did. Número 1, la escuela, school. La escuela es, and what do I do with that word importante?
Put it in it.
I want to say school is important. Do I leave importante alone or do I have to put it into a feminine form? La escuela es
Importante.
Leave it alone.
importante, stays the same, right? Because importante ends in an e. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's same for masculine and feminine. Es importante. Okay. Las chicas son, and simpático means
Chico.
nice. We're talking about las chicas.
AS.
Las chicas son
Simpática.
simpáticas.
Cos.
Simpáticas.
Mhm.
Bien, sí. Simpáticas. See, we're skipping number 3 because it's a repeat of something we did in the last one. Las plumas, pens. Las plumas son
Son
Yes.
Azul.
Azul.
And it
Yes.
can't just be azul because it's las plumas, a
Mhm.
bunch of them. Las plumas son
Yes.
Azules.
Azules.
azules, azules. See, we've got another description. This one is not a color in número 5, number 5. Los libros son,
Libros
and
son.
difícil means hard, difficult.
Difícil.
Los
Yes.
libros son
Difíciles.
Yes.
difíciles, difíciles. Bien, difíciles. Los libros son difíciles. Okay. Los carros Fiat son, and I want to say italiano. They are Italian cars. Los
Italianos.
carros Fiat son
Italianos.
italianos. Exacto.
Italianos.
Italianos. I need an S
Okay.
at the end of italianos. Okay. Las papas fritas son
Delicious.
Deliciosos.
Deliciosos.
Dios. Eso.
Deliciosos.
deliciosas. 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 They are delicious. I need to change that O at the end of delicioso into an A, and I need to slap an S on the end because papas fritas, fries, French fries, papas fritas are French fries, is
Okay.
feminine and plural. Las
Yes.
papas fritas son deliciosas. Okay. Y 8, and I'm going to save the ending for you to do some finishing up some homework with that later on. Los chicos son, perezoso means lazy, lazy, perezoso. Los chicos son perezosos, perezosos. And chicos could mean boys or boys and girls, mixed group, right? Bien. Okay. I'm going to leave the next 12 for you to do. And you're going to use descriptions like malo, bad, bueno, good. Alemán, German. I'm going to tell you a special disclaimer. German, because it's a nationality, nationalities that end in nationalities that do not end in O will need to actually go into a feminine form. Cuidado. So that one is kind of a stumper. Yeah, because they're nationalities. Alemán means German. Rubio means blonde, right? Imposible, there's a cognate. It means what you think. Fácil, I gave you this. Oh, gris, you've got. Español, it's going to be a nationality. It's going to be like Alemán. It will need a feminine form. Oh, we don't have it a feminine form here. Yay. Rico can mean either rich or yummy if it's talking about food. Enorme means enormous. It's bigger than grande, big. We've got verde again. And the last one is the hard one because we are talking about something that is red and somebody who is athletic. So that one's going to be a stumper. So those are going to be for you to finish up for tarea, homework. Now we're going to see lots of examples, lots of input. Lots of input. And I'm going to show you the first 8, what the key looked like. So here was the key. La escuela es importante. You see what we did. We did nothing with that word. Las chicas son simpáticas. Marge Simpson tiene el pelo azul. We're kind of skipping that. We already had it. Las plumas son azules. Los libros son difíciles. Los carros Fiat son italianos. Las papas fritas son deliciosas. Los chicos son perezosos. Okay, so there you see how we changed those adjectives. Some did not change into a different form at all. Okay, because they did not end in O. and we use the same thing. Some only became plural. Some had to go into a feminine and a plural, or a masculine and a plural. Okay, so we had a variety of things going on in those samples. Bien, let's see. Vamos a ver. We're going to see if we can see some patterns. And we're going to use some of the adjectives that we used in the last chapter. Okay, so I'm going to kind of limit my adjective use to some of the biggies. And they try to kind of limit this to things that you might need maybe more as a tourist. Ideas opuestas, opposite ideas, some opposite ideas. You know, this whole thing of adjectives becomes kind of challenging because it's a double-edged sword. What's the most important thing you need to know about adjectives? Getting just the vocabulary down first, right? If you get the basic vocabulary word right, but you get the gender wrong, at least somebody has an idea of where you're going with this idea that you want to express, right? So the vocabulary word itself is more important than getting the form right away. But we're going to show you what the form looks like. Un Ferrari es caro. Caro indica que cuesta mucho dinero. ¿Sí?
Bien. Sí.
Un Kia es barato.
Sí.
We're going to go for word meanings.
Cheap.
Okay. Sí.
Sí.
Caro
Expensive.
indica que cuesta mucho dinero. ¿Bien? ¿Entienden?
Bien.
Barato no cuesta mucho dinero. Entonces, hablamos de carros. Carros son masculinos, ¿sí? Un Ferrari es caro. Un Kia es barato. ¿Bien? Ok.
Bien.
A ver. Alto y bajo. We're going for meanings now, not just the forms, right? Un edificio alto.
Tall building.
Edificio es edificio. ¿Qué es edificio en
Building.
inglés?
Building.
Building. Yeah. Oh, we got a very fancy English word, edifice, which you hardly ever hear people use in conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, there are many edifices in this town. Well, yes, but people don't say that. Yeah. Because we use edifice in, higher. Yeah, it's a highfalutin word, right? Un edificio alto, un edificio bajo. Entonces, alto es tall.
Short.
Bajo es
Small. Short.
Short in height. No. Fíjense, notice. Bajo, short in height, not short in length. So we do not use bajo to talk about a short skirt or short shorts. All right. Okay. Alto y bajo. Alto y bajo. Bien, vamos. Un nuevo zapato. It's shiny. It's
New shoe.
new. Son zapatos viejos. They are
shoes. Old
shoes. And notice I've only got one shoe, so I use nuevo. Yeah. But I've got a couple here, so it's viejos. Viejos. Okay. And now fíjense, notice this is why this is why it's important not to pronounce the number with a smile at the end. Nueve has a smile at the end, right? Nueve is 9, but nuevo is new, as in never been worn, okay? Viejos. Nuevo, viejos. Okay. Por ejemplo, Son pantalones cortos. Son pantalones cortos. They are
Short.
Short.
short
Short.
pants.
Cortos.
They're shorts.
Son
We would say in
pantalones
English, they're
cortos.
shorts.
Short.
But because these are pants that happen to have the legs cut off to a short length, right? Los pantalones cortos son
Son
pantalones cortos. Okay. Son pantalones largos. Largos is what we call a false cognate. When you hear largos, it sounds kind of like the English word
Or large.
large, but it does
Mhm.
not mean
Means
large. It
It
means
long.
long in length. Long in length. Okay. So, son pantalones largos. No son pantalones grandes. They
Grande.
are not like a big size, you know.
Mhm.
No son grandes. They're not
Okay.
huge.
Mhm.
Okay. So I want you to pay attention to the description we use and the form it rolls into. Es una habitación grande. Es una habitación grande. It's a
Large room.
large room. It's a big. Grande, big or large. Es una habitación grande, and grande is already in a feminine form. So when I talk about una habitación grande, stays grande. Es una habitación grande. If I were to use the other word for room, the word cuarto,
Cuarto.
which is an O, I use the same thing because grande does not have a different feminine masculine form, right? It's always grande until I make it into plural, grandes, right? Es un
Okay.
cuarto grande. Es un cuarto grande. Es una habitación grande. But grande does not need to flip-flop because it ends in an e, grande. And same thing for masculine, same thing for feminine. Okay. Es una habitación pequeña. It's a
Pequeña.
small
Small.
room. Es una habitación pequeña. I now need, that word pequeña needs to go into a feminine form because it's talking about una habitación. But if I use the other word for room, cuarto, instead of habitación, cuarto es masculino, habitación es femenina.
Bueno,
Es una habitación
Pequeño.
pequeña, but es un cuarto pequeño.
pequeño.
Okay. So you may say, oh, yeah. What if I use the wrong form? What if I say una habitación pequeño? What if I forget to make it pequeña? Well, yeah. Will somebody still understand you? Yes. Will it sound wrong to them?
Yes.
Yes. It
Yes.
will sound wrong. But will they know what you're talking about? Yes. Okay. So point being, I can't quite say to you, it's no big deal to get the gender wrong because it is important because, okay, it's important to get the gender right and say it as pequeña for habitación because it will roll in there, you speak to somebody who's a native speaker and they'll say, oh, this all makes sense. It will sound off to them. It will sound funny. It will sound weird to them if you don't use the right gender. But will they get the general idea of what you're trying to say? Yes. So my point being, don't be afraid to make mistakes with gender. Strive to get the word right. Yeah. Grande, pequeño, grande, pequeño. Okay. So we could never use the word pequeño to talk about this picture on the top because that's not small. Yeah. Okay. We couldn't use the word grande to talk about this room down here because that wouldn't make sense. So better to get the big idea, the the adjective, the vocabulary word right.
Pequeño.
Less important to get the gender right. Okay. You're looking for big idea. Okay. Some other vocabulary words they gave you in this chapter were words for narrow and wide, narrow and wide, which also talk about size in a different way. But I'm trying to show you how these words can morph into different forms depending on the gender of the noun we use. Es una calle estrecha. It's a narrow street. Es una calle estrecha. Bien. But if I were to use the word road, camino, which is masculine, instead of calle, street, which is feminine, then that adjective has to morph into a masculine form. Es un camino estrecho. Es un camino estrecho. It's a narrow road. Okay, ¿vale?
Es un camino
Bien.
estrecho.
Sí. More important to get the word estrecho right. Right?
Rachel.
Less important,
Estrecho.
a cleanup operation to get the gender right. See, entienden? If instead I want to use the idea of wide, something that is broad, okay, yeah, goes out this way. We need a form of the word ancho, ancha or ancho, wide. Es una calle ancha. It's a wide street. Es un camino ancho. It's a wide road. Bien? Okay. But we would, we would never use estrecho to describe this because it's a broad, spread out street. Bien? Okay. We can also use narrow and wide to talk about clothing or shoes. Son zapatos muy estrechos. Wow, that is a pointy, narrow shoe. Sí. Son zapatos muy estrechos. Son zapatos muy anchos. These are really wide shoes. Okay, ¿vale? Bien. We can even have opposites like bonita and
Feo.
fea, right? Bonita, bonita. Es una ciudad bonita. It's a pretty city. It's a lovely city. Es una ciudad bonita, bonita. Es un barrio feo. It's an ugly neighborhood. Barrio es masculino, entonces es un barrio feo. It's an ugly looking neighborhood. Or maybe I want to say that street looks pretty ugly, and calle is a feminine idea. So it becomes es una calle fea. Oh, it's an ugly street. Bien? Okay?
Yeah.
Vale. And by the way, even though we think of these ideas of bonito. Bonito is nice, pretty, feo, ugly. Feo is used a lot. Feo is used a whole lot, guys. A lot more than it is in English, and it's used a lot more in the sense of describing something that is, just kind of nasty. So, if somebody looks at, oh, wow, you see the remnants of a car crash. Oh, es muy feo. It's really ugly, meaning it's a bad scene. Anytime you want to describe the sides, oh, this is a bad situation, feo. Yeah, they very liberally use that word, much more liberally than we do much more liberally than we do in English. Okay. A ver. So we want to look at some opposites, opuestos, because you may want to employ some of these ideas for a little assignment you're going to have to come to class with next week. we want to look at, and I will send this out to you.
Mm,
We want to look at some opposite ideas. Yeah.
mhm.
Alto y bajo. Alto y bajo. Delgado, thin, or flaco, skinny, y gordo.
Gordo. Fat.
That.
Big.
See? Joven, young,
Mhm.
viejo, or
Oh.
mayor, meaning
Mayor.
old. Mayor is used to say older, like an older person. Yeah.
Oh,
But
older.
viejo would be used for old things. And it can be used to say an old
Person.
person too. Yeah. Viejo. Moreno, brunette. Útil, useful. Yeah. We want to expand your
Mm.
vocabulary a bit. Moreno, brunette, rubio, blonde,
Blonde. Okay.
Rico.
brunette,
rich,
Delicious.
pobre,
rich, Poor.
po-
poor,
Pobre.
fuerte,
Strong.
strong, débil,
Weak.
weak. Yeah.
No.
Ah,
Oh,
Debility.
debilities. Yeah. A lot of times we have a highfalutin English
Real.
word. Yeah.
what is that?
Poverty, pobre. Our word
Oh.
poverty goes back to a Latin root, right? So our higher level English words often have some
Okay,
little
take a look.
connections, yeah, to these. Oh, amable. Amable, muy útil. Here's a very useful adjective. Amable means nice, kind.
Amable.
Ah,
Nice,
if
kind,
somebody,
nice.
oh, eres muy amable. Oh, you're so kind. They're giving you a compliment. Grosero
Ah,
looks like
amable.
Oh, no, yeah. See?
it-
Gross.
gross, but it doesn't really mean gross
Gross.
at all. Grosero, yeah, grosero is what we call a false cognate. Grosero, like
Big.
largo is a false cognate. It looks like large, but it's not large. Grosero means rude.
Rude. Grosero.
Rude.
Rude.
Grosero.
Grosero.
Yeah.
Grosero.
And these next two also deal with manners. Educado can mean educated. It also means like well-mannered because, in the olden days, an educated person was likely to be well-mannered, right? Mal educado looks like badly educated. What it really means, again, is rude. Doesn't know how to act properly. Okay. Mal educado. Simpático. Nice.
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 Antipático is the opposite of nice.
Not nice.
Not nice.
Antipático.
Mean. Yeah.
Mean.
Now, you could think of it as nasty, mean. Antipático. Es un tipo muy antipático. Antipático. And you have an anti. Simpático. Oh, we play nice together. Yeah. Simpático, people who play nice. Simpático. Antipático, people who don't play nice. The mean ones, right? Bueno, malo. Bueno, malo. Good and
bad.
bad. Okay. Oh, we've got some more opposites. Fácil.
See?
Difícil.
Easy.
Fácil, easy,
Mm,
difícil,
difficult.
difficult, hard. Okay.
Yeah, hard.
Bonito,
Pretty,
Pretty.
nice.
Pretty.
feo,
Ugly.
ugly. Yeah. Ugly. Sometimes we use it like in the idea of nasty as in a nasty situation. Yeah. Lots of, wow. Spanish actually has lots of words that go into variations of pretty or beautiful. Hermoso is one of the words for beautiful. Hermoso.
Oh.
Hermoso. Hermoso is beautiful. And notice we don't pronounce the H. The H is no se pronuncia la H. We don't pronounce the H. So it's hermoso.
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 Horrible.
Hermoso. Bien. And then we've got
Horrible.
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 Yeah, that's a cognate. It means what you think. Okay. Antiguo.
Hermoso.
Yeah.
Antique.
Antiguo. Yeah, antiguo can mean antique. It can mean old fashioned. Ooh, antiguo. Antiguo can mean ancient,
Ancient.
super old, you know, worse than viejo. Antiguo. Right. We get a word antique from that. It can mean antique in a sense. It can sometimes mean former, but really, really ancient, really super old. And moderno,
Modern.
modern. Okay. Oh, we've got nuevo,
Nuevo. New.
new, viejo,
Old.
Old.
old. We've got corto,
Short.
Pants.
short,
Short.
and we've got largo,
On.
long. We've got
Oh,
estrecho,
Narrow.
narrow, y
Mhm.
ancho,
Wide.
Wide.
wide. We've got grande,
Large.
large or big, y pequeño,
Small.
small.
oh,
Ooh, we've got divertido,
What's that?
fun, fun, entertaining. Oh,
Fun.
our word, yeah,
Yeah.
diverting, fun.
Oh.
Okay, something that's fun.
Aburrido. Boring.
Divertido, divertido.
Expensive.
Aburrido, aburrido, boring, boring, aburrido,
Boring.
aburrido,
I
boring.
should have known
And
that.
we've got caro,
Caro.
Caro.
Expensive.
expensive, and barato.
Rich.
Cheap.
Yeah. Caro is expensive,
Expensive.
costs a lot. Something that costs a lot is caro, caro. And notice it's not carro, it's caro.
Caro.
Carro,
It's a
doble
car.
R, carro. That's a
Car.
thing. It's the thing you drive, carro,
Mhm,
right?
carro.
Okay. But
Carro.
caro, expensive,
Caro.
Barato.
pricey,
Let's
caro.
see. Okay.
Barato, cheap. Cheap, not as in badly made. Cheap as in does not cost a lot. Barato, barato. Okay. Bien.
Right.
Let's see if we can sub in some opposites. We're going to plug in some opposite ideas. Este lápiz, this pencil. Este lápiz means this
not.
pencil. Okay. Este lápiz no es corto. Es
Es largo.
largo. They fill in a couple of ideas. for us.
Okay.
We're looking for the big idea here. We're not worrying about
Okay.
gender right now.
Okay.
We're worrying about the meaning of the word. So I'm going to bring our chart down so we can see.
Okay.
Roberto no es moreno, es
Is not.
rubio. He's not brunette. He's,
Is redhead. Red.
oh, not
Rubio.
redhead. Rubio is blonde.
Oh, blonde.
Blonde.
Hey.
Moreno, by the way, moreno has a connotation of dark haired and
Dark skin.
yeah, tanned, not pale.
Okay.
Yeah. Many,
Pale.
one of the
Okay.
many shades of brownish. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Bien.
Blonde.
Marino.
Okay. Moreno.
Blonde.
So it's usually, you know, it'll be, you know, dark hair brunette and probably tanned darker skin.
Okay.
Okay. Bien.
Okay.
Vale.
Uh-huh.
Let's take a look. We're looking at opposites. We're looking for opposites. And notice how we
No.
make an idea negative. We make an
Mhm.
idea negative by putting no in front of the es. No es. No es.
Yes.
The natural place to put the word no is in front of the verb. Okay. And here we're just being very consistent with the verb is always es because it's a
Mhm.
flat out description, right?
Okay.
Okay. Esta calle, this street, esta calle
Esta
no
calle
es
no es
estrecha,
estrecha,
es
es
ancho.
ancho.
ancha,
Ancha.
es ancha,
Ancha.
ancha.
Got it. Ancha.
If you got the gender wrong and said ancho, at least you're getting the idea across. Okay. Ancha. Okay. Ese edificio, that building, no es antiguo. No es antiguo. Es
Moderno.
Nueve.
Nueve.
Moderno.
No es
Moderno.
antiguo, es moderno.
Moderno.
Oh,
Es
moderno.
moderno.
Okay.
Es moderno.
Moderna.
¿Ok? Ah,
Moderna.
Alberto no es joven.
Es viejo.
Alberto is not young. No es joven. Es
Es viejo. Viejo.
viejo. You could also say es mayor. He's older.
Mhm.
Older.
Mayor.
Es viejo or es mayor. Either word will be the opposite of joven. Joven.
Mayor.
Ah, la fiesta no es divertida. This party is not fun.
Es aburrida.
Rida.
Es aburrida.
Viejos.
Aburrida.
Es aburrida. Estos zapatos, these shoes, estos zapatos no son nuevos.
Es
Son-
viejas.
Son
Son viejas.
viejos.
Lejos.
Son viejos.
Viejos.
Son viejos. Son viejos. They're old. Alberto no es rico. No es rico. Es
Rich.
Pobre.
Pobres.
pobre.
Pobre.
Es pobre.
Pobre.
Alberto no es fuerte. No es fuerte. No es fuerte. Es
Es
Débil.
débil.
débil. He's a weakling. Es débil. Es débil. Here is something
Débil.
you hear people using a lot to talk about little kids. Este niño no es educado. This kid is not polite.
Ah,
Es mal educado.
es
Mal educado.
Es mal educado.
educado. Okay.
He is not polite. He is rude. You might even say obnoxious. Mal educado, obnoxious. Yeah. Mal educado, mal educado. Okay.
Mm.
Esta ciudad no es pequeña,
The city is
Es-
not small. It's
Grande.
es grande. Es grande. Oh, perdón. This is not letting me enlarge and show you the top part. I will send you the whole link so you don't have to copy all this
okay.
down. Sí, bien, so no se preocupen. It's just that I know that once I move this up,
Keep it small.
it's
That's good.
not letting me go to the bottom.
I can see it.
No me permite mover aquí. Cae otra vez. Okay.
I can see it.
Can you see it? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Sí.
Bien, ok.
Sí.
¿Dónde estamos? Número 12. Este ejercicio, this exercise, este ejercicio no es difícil, no es difícil,
Es
Es-
fácil.
Fácil.
fácil,
It's not easy.
es fácil, es fácil.
It's fácil.
Ok, esos libros no son viejos. These books are not old, son
Nuevos.
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 Nuevo.
Now notice we would not
I know
say
that.
joven because they're not young books, no.
Mhm.
right? Son nuevos, they're
Son-
new, okay?
Yes,
Esas
Nuevos.
camisas son
Okay. They are
shirts. Esas
Bonitas.
camisas no son feas, they're not ugly, no son feas, son
Bonitas.
Bonitas.
bonitas, son bonitas. Bien? Okay.
Bien.
Sí,
And I'll
sí.
send you that little
Yeah.
page so you can ponder that. It's always good
Yeah.
to expand and get
Uh-huh.
some more vocabulary under your belt. Okay,
Okay,
a ver.
good.
So adjectives are a wonderful, wonderful world that we use all the time to describe things.
Mhm.
I am going to send you a link to listen this week. You're going to
okay.
listen to a video, and
Okay.
I think she does throw in one or two past tense things. Don't worry about the past tense thing, but notice what I want you to notice in this video. What I want you to notice is the patterns for how she talks about the things in the video
Okay.
and how she describes the things in the video. Okay. And some of the words you'll get and some you won't, but she's going to draw lots of pictures. So when you listen to this video, you're getting a lot of comprehensible input. You're being able to follow the general idea of the story and follow the general pattern of how she puts the words in the right order. That your objective is like, don't listen to that and try to translate word. No. Go for the big idea. Bien?
Okay, bien.
Big idea is always good. Okay. What I want you to be able to do next week is to bring in one, maybe two things. Quizás dos, maybe two. You're going to do that little bottom half of that adjective page, and I want you to bring something in. And I've got an example for you. Tengo un ejemplo. Tengo un, I've got a bad background here for this. Tengo un collar. Tengo un collar. Es clase. Es un collar. Es una bufanda. Una bufanda no es un collar. Un collar.
Collar.
Un collar.
Necklace.
Un collar. ¿Sí? Es un collar. I want you to bring something and just describe it really briefly. Yeah. And something easy. Don't bring something, like, don't go for the hardest example. Algo obvio, something obvious. Es un collar. Clase, el collar es, ¿de qué color es?
Rojo.
Es rojo. Es
Small red.
Rojo.
Es un collar rojo.
Okay, necklace.
Es un collar grande, un collar pequeño.
No.
No, pequeño.
Pequeño.
Es pequeño.
Pequeña.
Tengo otro collar. Y el color es
Rojo.
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 Es
Largo.
rojo también, pero no es corto, es muy
Largo.
largo. Es un collar grande, un collar largo y rojo.
Y rojo.
Bien.
Y largo y rojo. Sí.
Este collar es grande, este collar es pequeño. Este collar es largo, muy largo, ¿sí? Larguísimo, really long. Y este collar es
Larguísimo.
corto. Bien.
Corto. Short.
Bring
corto.
something in and just very briefly describe it. Color and something about size or, yeah,
Okay.
algo, something. See? Okay. So bring in one or maybe two little quick things and just quick description. Yeah. No term papers. Not a book. No es un libro. Algo fácil, something easy. Okay. A ver, we're going to take a look at some other ideas connected to adjectives. I'm just going to preview for you here. If you did not watch this video that I sent you a link for last week about adjectives, you please make sure you watch it. Oh, perdón, I got to move my stream here. Make sure you, if you didn't watch it yet, make sure you go back and listen. Make sure you listen to this video if you did not watch it last week that used descriptions about emotions. Yeah, make sure you go back and listen to it. Okay. A ver, because it's going to show you some patterns. Uy, momentito. No es. ¿Dónde está? Aquí. Here. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about adjectives, and I will send you this page.
Okay.
So don't furiously copy notes. No es necesario. I want to tell you something else about adjectives that is kind of odd in Spanish. Where to put adjectives? Okay. When I describe this in Spanish, I say, es un collar largo. See, un collar largo. A collar sounds like collar, right? Un collar. Un collar largo. We would say a long necklace. We put adjectives in front of nouns in English. It's a red necklace. It's a long necklace. In Spanish, many, many times, most of the time, adjectives will come after the things they're talking about. They will come after nouns. They will follow the nouns they're talking about. This is the opposite from the word order. So now this is going to feel kind of weird, but that's just the way they use most adjectives. Not all, but a lot. So not only are you getting used to, oh, I've got to know the actual word, which is the vocabulary, but oh, now I got to know the gender and number, and now I got to know where it goes. And yes, all those things start to weave together. Yeah. That's why we want you to listen to lots of videos. But, por ejemplo, for example, if you want to say tall boy, it's generally said as Chico alto. It's said as Chico alto.
Chico alto.
Chico.
It's
alto.
generally phrased as boy tall. Un chico alto. We say a tall boy. They will say it as es un chico alto. Okay. I met a tall boy. Conocí a un chico alto. And you don't know the conocí part yet, but conocí means I met.
Un chico.
Conocí a un chico alto. I met a boy tall. In Spanish, you have time to think about, ooh, how do I want to describe Chico? You describe him after you talk about him. Oh. So this little page will give you a review. Adjectives that end in O do one thing, and it's going to have a little audio box for you to hear how that sounds. I'm going to give you different
Chico alto.
expressions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go and listen to that on your own time. They're going to talk about a green tie or a green coat. Okay. So we're just going to give you that. They go in a certain order. So we're next. Ooh, we're going to listen to a little video. Un video. Hay tiempo. Is there time? No, I don't think there is time because I need to preview. I will also send you this little thing. I'm going to have you listen to this on your own time. Es mejor. It's a little bit better. They're going to talk to you about these odd things about adjectives. It's an 8-minute video, but again, it'll give you more input. I'm probably going to put it in order. I'll have you listen to these rules first. So I'll have you listen like the order I would like you to listen to. The order in which I would like you to listen to this one first.
Okay.
And then when you're done with that, afterwards go to, ahí donde está. I cannot find my, then listen to your thing about the little hut.
Okay.
And watch how they put it into play. I want you to see the rules first and then listen to this thing in actual action, how they actually say it in a sentence second. Okay. I want you to do it in that order. Okay. And then what I want you to do is do the bottom half of this adjective page last. Try to actually change adjective forms last in that order. And I'll put them in that order in the email. So you know what order I want you to do it. Okay, bien?
Okay, bien.
Good with that?
Bien.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So here's one thing we are going to listen to together because
Anymore.
I am really abbreviating this video a ton. I'm going to, what you're going to do for next week, what I would like you to do for next week is start to preview some ideas in the next chapter, but you're not going to do absolutely everything in the next chapter. I want you to take a look at chapter 6, capítulo número 6, chapter 6. I want you to look at words that talk about directions. The title for that chapter is Around Town. And the point of the chapter is to get familiar with asking for directions, like asking your way around. Okay. But there are two things I want you to pay attention to. And one
¿Dónde
is
está?
going to be what we call just vocabulary of directions, like how to say left versus
Okay.
right, you know, left versus right, left
Okay.
versus right,
Don't
directions, how to say straight ahead.
get
Okay, how to talk about maybe street lights, because you know you count how many street lights you walk past, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
How do you ask where is something? Stuff like that. The second thing is going to be on page 86, 86, and these are words that are question words. Question words are also known as interrogative words. I mean, who, what, when, where, why. Right? When we ask our way around, we need question words, you know, what is, where is this address? Where is this place? Where is that place? All right. Which street is this? How do I get to? Ooh, how do I get to?
Come on,
And the
man.
way you express how do I get to is going to be a really specific sentence. Here is the specific sentence to ask, how do I get to? And I want you to really notice this question. ¿Cómo means how. ¿Cómo llego a? And then you plug in the place.
Llego a.
And here's what it really means. You would never ask that question that way in English. But here's what it literally means. And this is why I tell you, don't translate word for word. Llego means I arrive at a place. But normally we don't say it that way. Normally we ask this question, how do I get to? Yeah, that's how do I get to the post office? How do I get to the museum? How do I get to the airport? How do I get to my hotel? And we use get to. But get to is expressed in Spanish as llego a, arrive at.
Llego a.
Para que sepan, so you know. ¿Cómo llego a?
¿Cómo?
How do I get to? And after that, somebody will give you directions. So I'm going to give you some videos that will show you or how we talk about directions, but we're going to watch this little snippet, this part together. And the reason I'm not going to give you this whole video to watch is because he goes on for 5.5 minutes talking about, if you want to hear the story about how this guy met a couple of juicy, hot looking girls, go ahead and listen on your own. Okay. I kind of don't care. And it's not the point of the lesson. So if you want to listen to that, listen to the first 5 minutes. A mí no me importa. I really don't care that he met a couple of hot chicks, but good for him. As I like to say, good for him. Yeah. But what he does do, I'm going to preface this. His accent is not great, but his manner of breaking this down for how to ask your way around is super, super helpful if you actually have to travel. Super helpful. So we're going to listen to it for the last part. Whoop, perdón. Now I got to get rid of this thing. Caí. A ver. I've got to
Luego,
truly get rid of my share.
uno,
Okay. Bien. A ver.
uno.
Let's try this one more time. Ay,
Oh, okay.
all my stop shares. Hang on. Just tell me, guys, if you see the guy in the black t-shirt. Can you see the guy in the black?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Bien. He's going
Yes.
to tell you an easy way with 3 questions and how he videos himself actually doing this on the street. And
Mhm.
this is the honest to God truth. I will tell you what he's showing you really does happen in real life.
Link is also in the description. The 3 questions I'm about to teach you that'll enable you to ask directions to any site in any Spanish-speaking country is probably the simplest system in the Travel Spanish course. The questions are made of just 7 words, but get this, it's also the most effective, the most foolproof. That's a good combo.
And he is absolutely right. This is, if you just got to get down and dirty, get around, this will do the job.
Let's get to it. Question number 1 is, ¿Dónde está? Then say where you want to go. ¿Dónde está? Means where is. You can say an address, the name of a landmark. You can even just point to something on the map. If you wanted to go to McDonald's, you'd ask, ¿Dónde está McDonald's? If you wanted to go to the museum in Madrid called La Reina Sofia, you'd
And
ask,
that means Queen Sofia Museum. That's a special
¿Dónde
museum.
está la Reina Sofia? Discúlpame, señor. ¿Dónde está la Reina Sofia?
Está en Atocha.
I said, discúlpame, señor, which
And that is the way you start because you signal to somebody, excuse me. So always start with asking directions with discúlpame or discúlpeme, discúlpeme. See? Excuse me.
me.
means excuse me, sir. Before asking, ¿Dónde está la Reina Sofia? Where is the Reina Sofia? He then said a bunch of gibberish, but more importantly, did you see him point? Discúlpame, señor. ¿Dónde está la Reina Sofia?
Está en Atocha.
They always do that, and when
They always point. That is the honest to God truth. They will physically always point. I kid you not. I thought back to my experiences. This is absolutely correct. You may not understand every word, but they're going to point, and then he's going to show you how to do the cleanup after you don't understand everything.
I say always, check this out.
Hola, por favor. ¿Dónde está el supermercado Mercadona?
Yep.
Hola, por favor. ¿Dónde está el metro? El metro?
Metro is a subway.
Mhm.
And she points.
Hola, por favor. ¿Dónde está el supermercado Mercadona?
Yep.
Señor, discúlpame. ¿Dónde está la parada de metro Ópera?
Ópera. Mira,
Hola. ¿Dónde están los correos?
Correos.
Sí.
Tienes que seguir.
Hola, por favor. ¿Dónde está el metro?
El metro para.
I'm telling you, they always point. Okay, you just asked ¿Dónde está? Wherever. If they're still talking and you don't understand, you probably won't. Basically, cut them off as politely as possible, point in the same direction they just pointed, and ask question number 2, ¿Esa dirección? That
There's question number 2. Esa dirección. That direction?
direction? As long as you point in the same direction they point, they'll say sí every time.
está en Atocha.
¿Esa dirección?
Sí.
Don't worry about the whole pointing thing too much. It all happens instinctively, both theirs and yours. Just focus on the 3 questions or 7 words and you'll be fine. After they say sí, you ask question number 3, ¿Cuántos minutos andando?
¿Cuántos minutos andando? Here's one of your question words. How many minutes walking? Now, this word might be andando. It might be caminando, walking, either way, but ¿cuántos minutos andando or cuántos minutos caminando? Because everybody walks everywhere, even in these big cities.
How many minutes walking?
Sí.
¿Cuántos minutos andando?
Media hora.
Media hora.
30 minutos.
The answer to this question, obviously, will be a number of some kind. In this example, he first said media hora, which is half hour, then clarified 30 minutos, or 30 minutes. Discúlpame, señor. ¿Dónde está la Reina Sofía?
Está en Atocha.
¿Esa dirección?
Sí.
¿Cuántos minutos andando?
Media hora.
Media hora.
30 minutos.
I know this is very simplistic, and in my travel Spanish course, I show you how you can take it further and get more specific. But these 3 simple questions really will get you anywhere you need to go. You just walk in the direction they tell you to walk for as long as they tell you to walk. If their answer was 5 minutes, you're probably good just walking 5 minutes in that direction. But if the answer was 30 minutes, you should probably ask again in 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure. Keep doing that until you close in on your destination. Let's go to another quick example of these 3 questions in action. In this one, I'm in Madrid looking for the metro stop Opera, or la parada de metro Opera.
Señor, discúlpame. ¿Dónde está la parada de metro Ópera?
Ópera, mira, todo para abajo.
¿Es la dirección?
Sí, sí.
¿Cuántos minutos andando?
4 o 5 minutos.
4 o 5. Ok.
Sí, pero lo ves, hay una plaza muy grande y ahí está Ópera.
Gracias.
35
That's a
minutes.
textbook example of the 3 questions in action. Just ignore whatever they say that you don't understand and look for the sí, no, or a number. In this case, after I asked cuántos minutos andando, or how many minutes walking, he quickly replied 4 cinco, which is 4 or 5.
¿Dónde está la parada de metro Ópera?
Ópera, mira, todo para abajo.
¿Es la dirección?
Sí, sí.
¿Cuántos minutos andando?
4 o 5 minutos.
4 o 5. Ok.
Sí, pero lo ves, hay una plaza muy grande y ahí está Ópera.
Gracias.
Now, these 3 questions, they don't just work in the streets, they work anywhere you'd ask, where is something? Like, where is the bathroom? ¿Dónde está el baño?
¿Dónde está el baño?
Remember, what they say doesn't really matter for question number 1. Just look where they point. In that simple example, there was no need for question 2 or 3. And really, you can even skip the donde está part and just say where you want to go with a question tone to it, like el baño.
¿El baño?
This is actually a really good example of getting by with just the caveman version of
Yeah, caveman version. Okay. The objective is, you know what? You can study and study and study, and sometimes, do we sometimes have a brain fart? Yes. Sometimes we have a brain fart. And so sometimes you need to have that survival thing of pull out 3 questions. Yeah. Bien. I'm also going to send you another video that will give you more elaborate questions, but again, it'll break it down into a lot of vocabulary that will be helpful. Talking about when, how do people tell you to turn right, turn left, go straight, how to talk about how many blocks to walk, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So you're going to have about 2 videos to help you with that, but remember, don't, listen to the first 5 minutes, but do listen to it again. Okay. Está bien.
Hey.
Bien.
Good so far? Sí,
Bien.
bien.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bien.
We'll practice a little with this. Directions are a little complex in that, we won't get like way into the weeds of asking directions, because a lot of times you get like 3-4 different words that can mean turn, and, it can start to get kind of complex. So we want to keep this part of it kind of simplistic, but do come next week with some kind of an object to describe something really simple. Bien, see, do the little written homework, listen to all the videos there. So mainly your focus this week will be on adjectives, and then checking out the new vocab on directions, asking your way around, how do I get to a place, all that kind of stuff. See, preparations for all of that. See, bien. And next week we'll introduce some wonderful things. Oh, how did we get that question? ¿Cómo llego a? Why do we have llego? Llego for how do I get to? What is that word llego about? We'll talk about that next week. Bien? ¿Todo bien? All good?
Checo.
Bien.
Sí, sí.
Magnifico. Okay. Vale, magnifico. Lots of input, do lots of listening. Pick one little item from the email I send you and do one little item every day. One
Okay.
little item every day. Eso es. Okay? Bien?
Okay. Sí.
Magnífico.
Sí.
Okay.
Magnífico.
Entonces, espero que tengan buena semana. I hope you have a good week. Semana. Buena semana. ¿Ok?
Buenas semanas.
Espero que tengan buena semana. Sí, y nos
Gracias.
vemos el
Ujú.
martes. Nos vemos el martes. See you guys.
Hasta luego.
Buen día.
¿Está bien? Sí.
Yeah,
Hasta
okay.
luego.